everyone, and welcome to our 8th and deciding race of the Honda CBR 250R National Series, part of the 2014 Mopar Canadian Road Racing Championships from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, an hour east of Toronto, Ontario. This is Frank Wood, your series announcer, reporting from our final Canadian Tire Motorsport Park CBR 250R National Round. This national championship event is presented by Honda Canada, by Dunlop, and by Mopar. CBR 250 is now out for their warm-up lap, and we'll introduce the 9 riders involved in this 8-lap championship race. Starting from 9th position on the number 81 machine is Jay Renshaw on the Competition Cycle and Woodcraft sponsored machine. Then alongside him, the 141 of Jared Walker on the Tinimec sponsored bike. Row 2 will feature number 58 Joshua Thomas on the TrackDayHub.com and Held Equipment sponsored machine. 8th position will be number 20 Pascal Antil on the Euromoto entry. Filling out row 2 is the number 32 machine of Pascal Bastien, and he is sponsored by ASM. Up to the front row now, on the outside of the front row is number 181 JP Schroeder on the Centre ML machine. Alongside him, number 112 Cameron Walker on the Tinimec sponsored bike. He will start from 3rd position. From 2nd position will be the number 210 machine of Jacob Shaw O'Leary on the Pro Cycle O'Leary Brothers Trucking sponsored entry out of Nova Scotia. And then starting on pole from Montreal, Quebec on the number 34 machine, Eric Quentin, with sponsorship from Centre ML. Riders now completing their warm-up lap will line them up on the grid and send them off in pursuit of the national championship win in this, the final round of the Honda CBR 250R Challenge for 2014. Quentin takes his position. Now Jacob Shaw O'Leary pulls up alongside. Jean-Pascal Schroeder on the outside has taken his position. Cameron Walker now on the 112 machine, making his way up towards the front row, and he will lodge into P3 for the start of this race. Jared Walker and Renshaw on the back row. Thomas, Antil, and Bastien. They are off and running, and a good start by Eric Quentin. And likewise for JP Schroeder, as down in through turn 1 they go and make their way in the short straightaway up towards number 2. And they're on an uphill climb right now. O'Leary with the race start there on the number 210 machine rather, and Eric Quentin on the number 34 bike, running back in 2nd spot when we saw them heading up in towards turn number 2. Now they're making their way up towards turn number 3. We'll see if we can pick up on the action. We know they're very, very close together, and Walker is definitely amongst the top 3 riders as they peel out of turn number 3 and start their dive down in towards 4. And of course that will dump them down into 5A and 5B, Moss's Corner. Then they'll have that long climb up the straightaway. They're working lap number 1 now of 8 in this national championship final. And this race will decide the championship. Of course, the points race very, very close coming into the second last race earlier this morning, where Eric Quentin, who was in the battle with Cameron Walker for the championship, unfortunately crashed out while he had quite a large lead late in the race. Quentin crashing out and passing off the rest of the racing, which went on between JP Schroeder, Cameron Walker, and Jacob Shaw O'Leary. And those 3 riders battled it out. This time around, Eric Quentin is in the race lead once more, so he has moved up into the front. He has taken the point on this one and looks to have an idea to stretch it out this time. Last time he admitted to us he was simply trying too hard. His teammate JP Schroeder now running in 2nd spot. Cameron Walker is in 3rd. Jacob Shaw O'Leary rather holding on to 4th spot. Pascal Bastien on the number 32 machine was in 5th going across the finish line, with Joshua Thomas on that TrackDayHub.com number 58 machine holding on to 6th. Pascal Anctil on the 20 bike in 7th, and Jared Walker rounding out your top 8 riders on the 141 bike after they have completed 1 of 8 laps, working lap number 2 now. And again, Quentin is starting to stretch it out. We watched him go in through turn number 3, and between 2 and 3, it seems like he got a very good launch coming out of 2. When we saw him making his way through 3, from this distance, we're going to give him probably 5 to 6 bike lengths going through 3, and he seems to be stretching it out a bit. But I remind you, in this morning's penultimate race in this national championship, it was Quentin who had established an enormous lead and then tossed it away. By his own admission, just going too fast coming through turn number 9. He laid that Honda on its side and it slid for quite some distance, both the Honda and himself undamaged, but unable to restart, unfortunately. And so he's going to have to try to redeem himself and hope that perhaps winner of the previous race, Cameron Walker. And it looks like Pascal Bastien may have had some trouble now. The 32 bike actually coming to a stop and then restarting. So Bastien has really got his work cut out for him this time around if he hopes to get into the lead group. Here comes Quentin again, and again we're seeing a repeat of what we saw in the very first race, where Quentin a big lead. JP Schroeder, who finished 3rd in the last one, now running in 2nd spot just ahead of Jacob Shaw O'Leary and Cameron Walker. As they peel down into turn 1 rather. Walker looks to the inside line, but there is no room there as both Schroeder and O'Leary sweeping down from riders left. Up in through turn number 2 they go, with 3 riders in pursuit of Eric Quentin. Quentin establishing quite a cushion already in this race. Quentin over Jean-Pascal Schroeder, and Jacob Shaw O'Leary, Cameron Walker, and Jared Walker now up in the 5th spot. So both the Walkers running in tandem there. Pascal Anctil on the number 20 machine, and he is pulling out. He has retired from this fray. No, sorry, that's Bastien. Pascal Bastien has retired. Number 32 has had problems. He's the rider that stopped on the course and then got going again, but obviously he has mechanical difficulties which have taken him out of this race. An unfortunate turn of events for Pascal Bastien, the ASM rider in from Quebec. So he now out of the fray. We'll look for Eric Quentin and JP Schroeder to hold up honors for La Belle Province, as Quentin was leading and Schroeder running in 2nd spot when last we saw them. However, those 2 elder statesmen of Honda CBR 250R Racing are being pressured very, very much by the young guns that are coming along. Not so much Quentin because he has a huge lead, but Schroeder now has got his hands full of Walker and O'Leary as they make their way into turn number 8. We follow now Eric Quentin through turn number 9, maintaining a nice easy pace now this time around. You can bet your bottom dollar that the mistake he made in the first race is not going to happen again. Walker holds on to 2nd, but ever so slightly over Jacob Shaw O'Leary. O'Leary coming up and using all of the racetrack to try to catch up to Walker. Meanwhile, Jean-Pascal Schroeder falling slightly off at the pace. With 3 laps complete now, they are working lap number 4. Up in through turn number 2 and then down that slight valley down into the lower part there, which sits between 2 and 3. One of the most challenging corners certainly on this racetrack, and if you listen to F1 drivers rather, they'll tell you that it is one of the more formidable corners in GP racing as well. Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, the only place in Canada where we've had a Grand Prix event. That happened back in 1967, and we also had a World Championship in Superbike racing here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and who knows what the future may hold. Perhaps we may see another World Championship event here at this establishment. Certainly it is Canada's jewel as far as motorsport racing racetracks go, rather. Once more, we look to the Canadian Tire Bridge at the end of the Andretti straightaway. That is the bridge that will usher them into turn number 8, and the race leaders will be coming up that straightaway in short order here. In the last scene, 34 Eric Cantan on the Centre ML Honda CBR 250R, of course, and once again, this is carbon copy of what we saw last time around, with Cantan with a huge lead here. The battle now has boiled down to Cameron Walker and Jacob Shaw O'Leary. The halfway flags will greet Eric Cantan as he has completed lap number 4 and begins lap number 5. Meanwhile, the battle between Walker and O'Leary continues, and JP Schroeder holding on to 4th spot. Jared Walker's in 5th, albeit a somewhat of a distant 5th, but he has company now with Joshua Thomas. Thomas on the number 58 bike is all over Walker, and sitting back there taking in all the actions, the number 20 machine of Pascal Antiel. Jordan Renshaw on the number 81 bike also having his ride as he brings it in through 9 and 10 in pursuit of Antiel and Thomas. Thomas on the 58, Antiel on the 20. Jared Walker in 5th spot on the 141 machine, just behind the 4th place rider, number 181, Jean-Pascal Schroeder. Now, Schroeder had been running towards the front group here, but a couple of laps ago, something may have happened out there, because he came up the back straightaway about 4 or 5 bike lengths off the pace being set by Cameron Walker and Jacob Shaw O'Leary. And whether he's able to make up that distance remains to be seen, because these kids are working together on this one, drafting each other whenever possible. And of course, in these lightweight 250cc bikes that don't have a great deal of horsepower, it takes rider technique, and drafting is part of that. Mid-corner speed, of course, another key thing. And as Cameron Walker will no doubt testify, it's important not to lean those bikes over too far. We saw Walker crash out of a championship points position in Shubenacadie for doing just that. Turn 11 at Shubenacadie, Walker put the bike on its side, just tipped it over too far into the corner, lost traction, and you can bet that he learned a lot from that, and it's very unlikely that that's going to happen again. Race leaders now coming through 8, 9, and 10 once more. The 34 machine Centre ML rider Eric Cantan. This time around, Walker leads over O'Leary, and they are running as one, virtually wheel to wheel, coming off turn number 10. Walker tucking in behind and getting into that soft air. We'll look for him to take a dive to the inside of turn 1, but he doesn't do it. Walker stays in position right, and O'Leary rather stays in position right behind Walker and does not attempt to pass. So he may be saving this for the last few laps of this race, and we are starting to wind down now in this 8-lap national championship contest. Race leaders now through 3. At least Cantan is there. Now comes Walker and O'Leary with JP Schroeder in tow, and they'll make their way down now into 5A and B, and they will double apex that one with a relatively low speed, as we just picked up on the 81 bike of Jordan Renshaw in pursuit of Pascal Antiel. They're running an 8th and 7th position just now. In 6th spot is Joshua Thomas on that 58 bike, just behind Jared Walker, but that may have changed on this lap, as we noted that Joshua Thomas on that 58 bike was coming very, very close to the 141 of Jared Walker. Jean-Pascal Schroeder holds on to 4th spot. Jacob Shaw O'Leary, when last seen, was in 3rd, but again he was running extremely close to Cameron Walker in front of him, and he may be able to get have been able to get a tow rather and make the pass happen. We'll know that in just a few seconds here, as first of all Eric Cantan in through 8 and 9 straightens it up and then banks it over to the right in through corner number 10. O'Leary continues to shadow Walker. It's certainly not for lack of trying, as O'Leary on a couple of occasions now coming through turn number 10 has used up a great deal of that asphalt surface and come right up on the turtle bumps on the outside to riders left on the exit of turn number 10. At times it looks like O'Leary, I should say, is going right off into the grass, but of course he's got his game plan down pat right now. He's certainly run enough laps around this racetrack through the Thursday practice sessions, the Friday official qualifying, Yesterday, albeit they elected not to send the 250s out in some torrential downpour when their time came, so it left it for a doubleheader here on the final day at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, August the 17th, 2014. And now coming out of turn number 10, Renshaw on the 81 bike. And our race leaders anticipating them making their way up the Andretti straightaway now in towards the Canadian Tire Bridge. And then they'll set themselves up. They usually stay down below the plexiglass and make themselves aerodynamic as possible coming up that straightaway. But of course, when they get into turn number 8, the right-hander at the end of the Andretti straightaway, they're going to have to sit up and use their upright bodies as an air brake virtually coming in. They'll also stick out their right knee, which will aid them in slowing up just a bit. Your race leader, Eric Cantan, and just look at the lead that he has enjoyed. And just look now as O'Leary now pulling up right alongside Walker coming into turn number 8. This battle for second spot has become a fist fight, and these kids have taken the gloves off now as they come in through 9. They're going to get the last lap flag now, and this time around it's Walker over O'Leary once more. O'Leary now has got the last lap to get done. These are the championship contenders, those two boys running in second and third spot. Eric Cantan coming into this weekend had a chance at the championship, but he tossed it away in the previous race earlier this morning on the number 34 Centre ML sponsored Honda out of Montreal, Quebec. Right now, the Falmouth fast boy Jacob Shaw O'Leary out of Falmouth, Nova Scotia. And a huge battle going on at the back there between Pascal Antil and Joshua Thomas. Antil on the 20 bike and Thomas on the 58. Great battle going on there. I stand corrected on that. Jared Walker was the rider involved in that. Pascal Antil sitting back in behind those two riders. Jared Walker, the other rider involved in that battle with Joshua Thomas. But now the last lap is underway. And Eric Cantan is in a must-win situation. Cameron Walker with a possibility of grabbing the championship here, as has Jacob Shaw O'Leary. But of course the key thing here, and Eric Cantan could back me up on this one, is in order for you to win a national championship, you must of course first finish the race. In order to finish first, you must first finish, is the old racing saying. Now off the back straightaway, his last lap round here, his last trip through turn number 8. Now he comes through turn number 9. Now this is where he fell in the previous race. This time around he's playing it very smart. But the battle for second and third now is starting to heat up, and it has come to a full boil as they come in through turn 9. It is Jacob Shaw O'Leary running back in third spot. Cameron Walker now in first. Shaw O'Leary around the outside, and again he uses every bit of the racetrack to try to get the job done, but he will accept third spot. Cameron Walker gets second. Jacob Shaw O'Leary is third. J.P. Schroeder, Jean-Pascal Schroeder rather, on the 181 bike brings it home in fourth spot. Boy, what a great contest that was. What a tremendous way to end the 2014 National Championship final. We'll celebrate on the podium with these riders, and we'll acknowledge our national champion from 2014. That is the rider who will be awarded the number 1 plate and the opportunity, should they stay in the Honda class, to wear that plate next year in all of the Mopar Canadian Superbike National Championships within the Honda CBR 250R Challenge. And again, that plate and the championship award coming up at a podium presentation just a little later on today. And confirmation from John Hopkins from the Media Center that Jacob Shaw O'Leary has indeed captured the national championship, and we'll award him that plate, as we mentioned, at the podium just a little later on this afternoon. And on this lap, of course, the checkered flag being carried by our race winner, Eric Cantan, on the number 34 bike. But also on this lap, the number 210 bike of Jacob Shaw O'Leary will carry the checkered flag, as he has captured the 2014 Honda CBR 250R National Championship.
That was a lot of fun today. I came into the race knowing that I had to still finish. So I tried to keep the bike shiny side up today and just was able to get a podium finish out of it.
Cameron, what a great race it was to watch. The same thing as I said to Jacob, you guys had a great duel out there.
Oh yeah, it was a riot out there. Eric pulled away again, and I thought Jacob and JP were on me the whole time, so I kept on pushing it and came across the line in second.
What a great race and a great win.
Yeah, it was unfortunately this morning I went down, but thanks for Jean and everybody to help me put my bike back together, and the last race I focused the whole race, so I stayed on two wheels, and thanks for Eric for the signal, for telling me that I had a good gap, so this way was safer for me. It was very interesting here. I love the track, and I thank to everybody for making this happen, because it's a great series, people.
And of course, the championship and the #1 plate certainly deserves a few more words. So let's close this thing off. Jacob Shaw O'Leary, congratulations, young man.
Thank you very much. It's been a long time coming for our team to finally win a Canadian championship. Austin's been trying for the past few years. He's come close, but just hasn't been able to make it happen. The last guy to win one was Don Monroe back in '98. So it's pretty good to be able to bring this #1 plate back to Nova Scotia with me.
Well said. Thanks very much. And congratulations, Jacob Shaw O'Leary from Falmouth, Nova Scotia, for taking the national championship and the #1 plate in the Honda Canada-sponsored Honda CBR 250R Challenge.